On this episode of Terrier Nation, we'll break down the men's ice hockey season so far. Jessica Lam and Kyle Finn will discuss the women's ice hockey team, and Allison Dewitt will give us a look into the women's basketball season.
Mason Jablonsky and James Ninneman will catch us up on men's basketball and will give a playoff summary on field hockey as well as men's and women's soccer.
All this and more tonight on Terrier Nation. Good evening and welcome back to Terrier Nation. I'm your host, Haley Alvarez-Lauto.
And I'm Brooke Alessi. The men's ice hockey team, sitting at number 9 in the nation, has been dominant of the late, facing off against a struggling visiting Notre Dame squad. 3 third-period goals sealed the 5-2 win. The contest was tight throughout the first, netted at 1, with the Terrier goal coming from freshman sensation Lane Hudson. The Terriers entered the third with a 2-1 lead. Just 35 seconds into the final frame, Hudson netted his second goal of the evening. With a power play goal from Matt Brown and another goal minutes later from Sam Stevens, the home team outshot the Irish 43-28, skating off with a 5-2 commanding win. After a much-needed week off, the Terriers are set for a home-and-home matchup December 2nd and 3rd against the University of New Hampshire Wildcats. Now let's throw it over to Jessica Lam and Kyle Finn on women's ice hockey.
Thanks, Brooke. Since our last Terrier Nation episode, 8 games have been played by the women's hockey team, 2 against Providence, 2 against Vermont, 2 against UConn, and 2 more at the Henderson Showcase.
Starting with 12th-ranked Providence, the Terriers lost the first game at home 3-2 in overtime, with Andrea Brandley recording a season-high 42 saves. The next weekend series was 2 away games at 13th-ranked Vermont. The Terriers lost the first game 2-1, and then the Terriers went on to win the second game 4-3 in overtime as Lacey Martin scored the game-winning goal. The next series was against 12th-ranked UConn, with Game 1 being at UConn and the Terriers winning 2-1. Game 2 was at Walter Brown, and the Terriers won 5-2, with Haley Blinkhorn scoring 2 goals, including the game winner.
During the Thanksgiving break, the Terriers headed to Las Vegas to take part in the Henderson Collegiate Hockey Showcase. They opened the tournament against Yale, but unfortunately lost 0-2. Even so, the Terriers put up a hard fight. Graduate student Andrea Brandley made a total of 30 saves, and freshman Brooke Disher blocked 14 shots. And for the first time in the team's history, the Terriers did not allow a power play throughout the entire game. The tournament continued that weekend as the Terriers faced Penn State in the consolation game. Penn State managed to score once each period, leading to a 0-3 loss for the Terriers. Despite this, Callie Shanahan saved 37 goals throughout the afternoon. With that being said, overall the team has been averaging 2.2 goals per game, with an average of 25.3 shots per game. BU's shot percentage has been .087 as opposed to our opponents at .076. Furthermore, we have had a total of 501 saves as opposed to our opponents with 369 saves.
Looking ahead at the schedule, the Terriers have 3 more games until their break, all at home. They play a back-to-back series against the University of Maine on December 2nd and 3rd, then a single game versus Holy Cross on December 9th. Looking at the standings, the Terriers are currently 5-7 in conference play, with the opportunity to finish 8-7 before the month-long break. BU is currently sitting in 7th place in the Hockey East standings.
We wish them the best of luck and are looking forward to a win. We'll throw it over to Allison for more on the women's basketball team.
Thanks, Jessica. After a disappointing pair of losses to start the season, the BU women's basketball team has been on a winning streak for the past 4 games, most recently defeating UNH 78-42 on November 27th. Junior forward Caitlin Weimer has had a particularly great start to the season, earning the Patriot League Player of the Week title for the week of November 21st. She currently averages 12.3 points and 2.2 blocks per game and is making 54% of her shots. She is currently ranked number 25 in the nation for rebounds per game, with an average of 10.2 per game. The Terriers will next travel to Philadelphia to face St. Joseph's University on December 1st. Looking ahead, the team will play rival Boston College on December 4th. They also have an exciting lineup of Patriot League play during winter break, with 8 games scheduled for that time. We wish them the best of luck with the remainder of the season. We'll throw it over to Mason and James for more on the men's basketball team.
Thanks, Allison. For the Boston University men's basketball team, the start to the season has been middle of the turnpike. With a 4-4 record, BU is currently sitting at 6th in the Patriot League. After defeating Northeastern University on opening night, the Terriers won 3 of their next 4 games before dropping all 3 of their contests in the Cream City Classic in Milwaukee. I'm Mason Jablonsky, that's James Ninneman. James, what did you make of the Terriers' effort against UC Davis?
Well, Mason, it really was a tale of 2 halves on Monday afternoon. The Terriers were completely dominated in the first 20 minutes, with UC Davis outscoring them by a whole 29 points. In the second half, though, BU showed a lot more fight, managing to completely eliminate that deficit and send things into overtime. Graduate student Jonas Harper led the charge with a cool 21 points. And you know, Mason, this is a guy who could really carry an offense once he gets going. He's a plus shooter who can shoot for range, he can slash to the rim, and you know, he's not bad on the defensive end of the ball either. This guy is a two-time Patriot League all-defensive player, and he has earned the right to some recognition. Unfortunately, his efforts were not enough to overcome what I think was simply a stronger UC Davis team. When the Terriers get hot, we know they can compete with anyone in the Patriot League. We saw that last year when they won 20-plus games and made a postseason push, and we saw it in the first couple games this season before things went downhill. Look for this team to put the 3-game losing streak behind them and get the good vibes flowing again.
Yeah, absolutely, James. It was an exciting game, but the Terriers just barely came up short in trying to complete the comeback, as UC Davis outscored BU by 11 in overtime. Overall, the Cream City Classic was a brutal stretch for BU, falling to all 3 of their opponents. One thing that really jumps out to me from each of these games is BU's field goal percentage. In their first game against Southeast Missouri State, the Terriers shot just 32% from the field. The following night against the hosting Milwaukee Panthers, BU converted on a ghastly 26% of their field goal attempts. It seemed to be the same story for the Terriers in the first half against UC Davis, as they connected on just 26% of their shot attempts before their furious comeback effort in the second, finishing the game shooting 36% from the floor. So far this season, the Terriers are averaging a 40% field goal percentage, but BU has shown flashes of their potential high-power offense. The Terriers shot 56% in the second half against UC Davis versus a defense that held them to just 8 made shots in the first half. James, I would look at the Terriers' shot selection as a point where they could improve. Against Milwaukee, for example, the Terriers jacked up 26 threes and made just 3 of them. If the long ball isn't falling, as was the case throughout the Cream City Classic, the Terriers should look for better shots at the rim and try to get to the line. BU can't fall in love with shooting from range on a night when they are struggling to connect from downtown.
Absolutely. And, you know, BU needs to play like a complete team. Jonas Harper and Walter White are the only guys on that roster averaging more than 10 points a game this year. So look for the other guys, you know, to step up, start shooting the ball with some authority. Also, you look at that UC Davis game, right? They only had 7 assists on 24 made shots. You're not going to win many basketball games if you're not passing the ball around and setting up guys for the easy buckets.
Definitely, James. And we know BU has the potential to play great team ball, as they racked up 22 assists in their blowout win against Johnson and Wales on November 14th, and 19 assists in their rout against Hartford on November 17th. When the ball is hopping around, the Terriers are hard to contain.
Absolutely. You know, moral of the story here? Let these dogs off the leash and let them run. Now, I want to switch gears here a little bit. We need to shout out BU's very own Heisenberg, Walter White himself. Mr. White is now only 24 points away from claiming 14th place on BU's all-time scoring list, and 8 rebounds away from becoming the 6th player in program history to score 1,300 points and grab 700 rebounds. White is a 3-time All-Patriot League honoree and was recently selected to the Lou Henson Award watch list. For those of you who don't know, the Lou Henson Award is given to the most outstanding mid-major D1 college basketball player every year, so that's a big deal. And you know, this guy has been here since 2017, and I think it's safe to say that he's made his mark and cemented his status as the one who knocks.
Yeah, you know, Walter White has definitely cooked up some great shot making for the Terriers so far this season, leading the team with 13.3 points per game. He's also played well defensively with 5 blocks and 9 steals through their first 8 games. The Terriers as a whole have shown some improvement on the defensive end this season, holding teams to 40% from the field so far compared to 45% last season, as BU showed in their second half effort against UC Davis, where the Aggies shot 17% from the field and missed all 9 of their shots from 3. Defense can be a calling card for the Terriers, especially when they need to make up ground in a hurry. So James, it's been a 500 season so far for the BU men's basketball team. They've shown some really great potential, and I think their fortunes could change on a dime. Perhaps we should consult the Magic Basketball for some more insight.
I think that's an excellent idea, Mason.
Let's see here. Magic Basketball, will the Terriers get the ball rolling again on the offensive end? Oh, let's see. Oh, wow, look at that, James. The Magic Basketball says, without a doubt.
You know what they say, folks. That ball does not lie.
No, it doesn't, James. Well, I'm excited to see how the rest of the season goes for the Terriers. Their season continues when the Terriers travel to Merrimack College to take on the Warriors on December 2nd at 7 p.m. That will do it for us on men's basketball. Thank you for joining us.
With that, guys, let's kick it back to you. Haley and Brooke.
Thanks, Mason and James. The Boston University's men's soccer season came to an end in the semifinal round of the Patriot League tournament against Navy on November 8th. BU lost in penalty kicks after going 0-0 through regulation and overtime at Nickerson Field. For most of the game, second-seeded BU dominated possession of the ball, yet the Terriers couldn't find the net, even with advantages in both shots and corner kicks. After going into overtime, the Terriers fell in the 10th round of a shootout to 4th seed Midshipmen. The Terriers had a grim start to their shootout as senior midfielder Quinn Matulis' shot hit the post and missed, but the Terriers went on to make their next 8 attempts. Senior goalkeeper and Patriot League Goalkeeper of the Year Francesco Montali's save in the 4th matchup kept the score even until shootout round 10. After the Midshipmen scored their 9th penalty kick, it all came down to junior midfielder Andrew Rent in the 9th round, who unfortunately sent his attempt over the crossbar, ending the Terriers' season. Though their season came to a disappointing close, the Terriers earned 2 major awards. Along with Montali's recognition as Goalkeeper of the Year, BU senior Griffin Roach was named Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year. 6 players total were also named to all Patriot League teams. The Boston University women's soccer season came to a similar end in a brutal semifinal shootout loss against Bucknell University on November 3rd. Despite the Bison scoring a 21-11 advantage in shots, 11 of which were on goal, and 11-7 edge in corner kicks, second seed Bucknell couldn't score against third seed Boston University, remaining scoreless through 110 minutes of play. Tensions continued to rise as both teams missed their first shots. The Terriers proceeded to make 3 penalty kicks out of 5, but Bucknell found the back of the net on 4 of 5 attempts, ending the Terrier season. Though their season came to a heart-wrenching close, the Terriers earned 6 All-Patriot League selections, including freshman midfielder Juliana Giannino, who was named the Patriot League Rookie of the Year. The Boston University's field hockey team narrowly missed out on its bid for a Patriot League title after losing 2-1 in overtime to Lehigh University. The Terriers played a strong offense in the first quarter, dominating control of the ball, but the Mountain Hawks came back strong in the second quarter, with 3 shots in the first 5 minutes. In the third quarter, the Terriers pushed ahead scoring when freshman forward Martu Colo found graduate student midfielder Casey Thompson from the right side of the circle. But Lehigh tied things up in the fourth quarter. In overtime, a Lehigh defender deflected a penalty corner past Terriers senior goalkeeper Caroline Kelly, ending the Terriers season. The Terriers collected 3 of the 5 Patriot League Field Hockey Major Awards, including sophomore Peyton Anderson, who was selected as Defensive Player of the Year, and Martu Colo named Rookie of the Year. We hope to see all 3 teams back in the Patriot League Championship next season. That's all we have time for tonight on Terrier Nation. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter for the latest Terrier sports updates at Terrier Nation 10. I'm Brooke Alessi.
And I'm Haley Alvarez-Lauto. From all of us here at Terrier Nation, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.